Well, hello Blues fans and welcome back to the Tired and Weary YouTube channel, where today we're going to be going over the Coventry City game, and what a win it was. A Gary Rowett masterclass which has seen us boost our survival chances dramatically. In my previous video I predicted a 2-0 loss. I just didn't see a way back after the Cardiff game and the reception that the players got. The booing off the pitch, I thought that would have, just led them into an even worse downward spiral, and headed towards relegation pretty much. I thought that was almost a certainty post Cardiff, and I did not see the reaction coming. Rowett, what a team selection. Now, you could say before the game, like, what did Tyler Roberts do and what did Keshi Anderson do to even get into that team against Coventry? But Rowett had faith, started up in usual 4-2-3-1. Ruddy, Laird, Sanderson, Buchanan, and interestingly enough, he took Mowbray's kind of way of thinking and dropped Bielik back into centre back, which was really good. We'll come on to that in a bit. With Sunjic and then Paik. Now, another two very good performances. Keshi Anderson came into the team, as well as Tyler Roberts. Miyoshi kept his place, and then Stansfield, of course, stayed up top. How sad is it going to be to see him leave in 3 games, or is he leaving? That is the real question. Now, Bielik, wow. Against Preston, he looked like a changed player. He'd come back with a new fresh set of legs, pretty much. He literally looked like a Championship Vieira. That performance was so good. Against Leicester, kind of tailed off, lost his head a little bit, got himself a booking, and he got subbed off. And then from then on, we went to lose. And then against Cardiff, didn't really do too much. But against Coventry, there he was. Just give us that aerial presence, that composure in the back line, which we lack with Awu. As I've said before, I think he's got some talent, but in a relegation battle, we're not the club to let that flourish. He's still very rash and very naive. Whereas Bielik, who's still quite young, really, for what he is, he's like 24, 25. So he's still kind of learning his way, and oh man, he's just so good. Like, this is a player that we thought we were getting as a steal for £1 million, and he just hasn't been on it. We saw it last season in the run-up to the World Cup. He was fantastic, and then at post-World Cup, once he got into the Poland national team, he kind of just dipped and tailed off. He needs to really keep this form consistent going forward, and then if he does, what a player we'll have on our hands, and no doubt we can sell him on in the future for a big fee. If not, keep him, because our funds at the moment are looking very good. As announced by Gary Cook in the open house, that we have one of the fastest growing revenues in the league, which is going to enable us to compete with the top sides and the sides that come down from the Premier League. So Bielik, it's just, Sanderson, I feel like he needs that composure next to him. Otherwise, he is rash himself. He's still got a long way to go, and as I've said, I don't think he's captain material. I think he's a good player, but similar to Harley Dean, my last captain, I don't feel like the captaincy helps his performances. I think it adds that little bit of extra weight, extra pressure, and it doesn't allow him to be as comfortable as he'd like. He does care. All the players show that they do care, which is something I called into question. But he does care. Like, we saw the goal against Cardiff. He was devastated. He was on his knees. Like, okay, it's probably a reaction of a young player, but he does care, and that's what we need for these last few games. We just need some fight, and all the players showed that, quite honestly, against Coventry. And then Sunjic, what do we do with him? Because he's out of contract in the summer, and the performance that he put in against Coventry was one of the best I've seen from him all season. Now, he started off, as a fresh slate under John Eustace, and was like, oh, okay, we've got some promise in Sunjic, and then slowly tailed off, wasn't a Mowbray player, and came back into the team for this game, and what a performance it was. Just basically did everything that you expect him to do, just running around, basically like a hairless chicken, but giving us that energy which we so desperately lacked against Cardiff. And Sunjic, he has that energy in abundance, and he topped off his performance with a goal. He had a little cry, and that is the emotion, the passion that we just need to see. As cringy and as it sounds, it's been said to death, but we're lacking passionate players. For so long we've had them and kind of slated them and said, oh yeah, we need to move on from this kind of player. But Sunjic has passion, the energy, the drive in abundance. Just needs a bit of refining on his technical ability, his ability to pass and shoot. he needs some training there, but boy did he take his goal well. Fired straight past the Coventry goalkeeper, and well, I think he may have saw it late because it was kind of that far away from him, but I think the power kind of just took it straight past him and he didn't see it. So yeah, that was 2-0. Keshi Anderson and Tyler Roberts. Now, Tyler Roberts, another showing of what he can produce for us. I think he will be a good player. He just needs the right run of games. He needs a goal under his belt. But the two passes that he played for Keshi Anderson's goal and Stansfield's goal were sublime. Like the vision that he has, the kind of taking it one way, and like the reverse pass, which kind of like saw Anderson go through. And so, yeah, we got a bit lucky with the own goal, but we still had to create the chance to make it happen, which is something we haven't been doing in the last few games. And now I felt that this big win for us was coming. We haven't had one in such a long time. This big, like, multi-goal win, basically, it was coming, and we've got one finally. And it all started with Tyler Roberts to Keshi Anderson, who tried to pull it back straight into their goal. And now, did we get lucky? I feel had we conceded the goal, things could have. Yeah, we might have been staring down the barrel a little bit of, a Coventry side who still have a lot to play for. Yes, they've got one eye on the FA Cup tie against Man United this week, but they still had the playoffs to go for, which we look to have destroyed their chances now. So yeah, John Ruddy and Sanderson, a little bit of a mix-up, poor communication from both of them, which led to John Ruddy heading it straight out into the centre of the park. Like, if you're going to head the ball, head it out for a throw-in. Don't just head it back into the centre of the park, because we nearly got punished. And Haji Wright, he had a shot from probably about 30-odd yards out, and it just bounced before the goal, the right trajectory, onto the crossbar and onto the roof of the goal. And it was at that point where you kind of think, yeah, okay, this might just be our day. And it was our day. And we go on to make it 2-0. And yeah, through Sunjic, the goal that we've just talked about. And yeah, it turned out to be, in the end, a comfortable game. After the 45 minutes, we kind of saw a little bit of a drop-off, players a little bit uncertain, thinking, oh yeah, can we see out this win? But they stepped it up again, and they thought, no, 45 minutes. I thought I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a long 45 minutes. And it would have been a long 45 minutes had they sat back and defended. And I felt Coventry were growing into the game just that little bit more, until we go down our end, and Tyler Roberts plays a great ball, like an amazing pass, just to slip in Stansfield. That run, he saw the run. He's on the edge of the box, and Stansfield's almost in the middle. He's seen Stansfield run across into the 18-yard box, and just, yeah, that goal was brilliant. One of the most well-worked goals I've seen this season, not just from the Tyler Roberts pass and the Stansfield finish under the goalkeeper, but the work that Bielik put in beforehand, like driving the midfield. Yeah, he stepped up out of centre-back, which is something that was great. Like, he's got the ability to be able to pass the ball, and then Sunjic obviously covering for him. Like, that's the thing. If we've got these players who are versatile and can switch in and out of their position and decide that they want to dictate play, this is what I've said for so long now, that we've lacked players who are going to take the game by the scruff of the neck and go, yes, we are going to, I'm going to win us this game. And that's what I felt like Bielik did. He was like, he took it on himself. It's like, yeah, I'm going to start this move. It ends up playing just behind the striker in the end, in some of his runs, in that run in particular. But yeah, so obviously he found a ball which eventually found Tyler Roberts, and then Tyler Roberts played through Jay Stansfield for his 12th goal, 12th or his 13th goal season, either or, but I think it might be his 13th. But yeah, so what a loan signing he's been. And I feel with all the social media posts that Blues have been putting on about Stansfield, about that goal, yes, it was a massive goal, and what a celebration from the crowd, literally limbs everywhere. You don't get better limbs than down at St Andrews at Knighthead Park. Well, yeah, when it's rocking, and it was rocking against Coventry. The fans turned up in abundance, nearly 27,000, I think it was 26,800, so a good turnout, and the players paid back our commitment pretty much and showed that they do have the fight to potentially see us over the line. But yeah, Stansfield, I don't think it'll be that much for us to sign in the summer. If it is, we've got the money for it. I believe we do, and I feel like for a long time we've had certain situations, certain years where we've had a bit of money floating about. You know, when we brought in Sunjic for 6 million, when we had that massive spending spree under Redknapp, where we brought in a lot of players but failed to make a key signing, and that key signing being a striker. Now, I appreciate Stansfield isn't an out-and-out striker, but 13 goals for someone who's not an out-and-out striker is very good. Tops what Hogan, Djukovic, what anyone's done for us in the last few years. And yeah, even if he doesn't play as a striker next season, which, you know, I don't think he should. I think we should sign another player to go alongside him. But if we can get Stansfield for a fee of under £10 million, you're going to go for it because he's got the promise. It's just whether Fulham are willing to part with him after he's just signed a new 4-year deal before he came to us. So yeah, I think he might be on, and he obviously loves the club. He's been taken in by the fans. I think he gets us, like the fight that he shows, the passion, just the chasing down, the energy. The energy's a massive thing that's going to see us over these next few games. That we can't slip up and we can't be complacent now. We're outside the relegation zone, and the energy of players like Sunjic and like Stansfield are going to help drive the team onwards. So yeah, onto the relegation scrap. Now, do I believe we'll stay up? I think it depends on the Rotherham game. I'm a lot more confident than I was out of Cardiff. I was dejected. I didn't know how to feel. It was a feeling I've never felt before. Like, I believe we've still been in worse situations than this in the whole time I've supported Blues and survived, but I've not been as worried. And now this is the season where I was very worried. It might just be because you don't see it coming. The owners that we've got are fantastic, miles better than what we've had before under BSHL. And under them, you kind of saw it on the horizon, whereas now you're like, yeah, we really need to stay up in order for this plan to work. Not that it won't happen anyway, but it will set us back a year, and we don't need that. We need to be able to build. And yes, people say, oh yeah, you can build in League One and get the players and the fans on the same wavelength as each other, fighting for the same cause, but you can do that in the Championship. And it's been shown by teams like Luton, like Barnsley a few years ago, like Huddersfield, like Ipswich. Yes, they built on League One, but you don't have to have the best set of players. You just need to be able to fight in the same direction. You can turn things around within a season. It's not like it's impossible. You know, we can go from being down where we are now to a top 6 challenging side, but we need to have the right recruitment and the players to do so, and staying in the Championship will help us do that. And yeah, the future's looking positive if we stay up. Now, Rotherham have just sacked their manager. And of course they have. But if there's anyone who knows that a new manager bounce doesn't exist, it should be Blues, because we've had four managers this season. And Rooney, no bounce there. Mowbray, maybe a little bit of a bounce, but it was still a 50-50. He still won 50% of his games. So it's not the biggest manager bounce you've ever seen. You know, usually you get teams go on a 5-game winning run and they've got a new manager and everything's going really well. They don't lose 2-0 to Sheffield Wednesday under a new manager. So, yeah, and then Gary Rowett's come in and we've won 2, lost 3. So, yeah, new manager bounce, it's becoming even more of a myth as the years go on. especially with Blues. So hopefully that doesn't affect them too much. The players have shown they've got nothing to play for. I don't feel they've got the fight, or even the pride. It's like carry on and put in a good performance. Saw that against Plymouth, the game that was on the Friday night, and they were awful. Rotherham genuinely awful, and if we can show up with the same desire, intensity that we did against Coventry, a side not miles better, the talent they have, and we managed to stop that from like flourishing. You know, Ellis Sims, where was he? Where was he? Just wasn't there. And Haji Wright had one chance, but where was he? So yeah, like Rotherham, the game. Yeah, it's gonna. Our survival will depend on that game. I feel like if we win that, we have the chance to be 4 points clear, which means a result against Huddersfield isn't exactly a must, and we take it down to the final day. If we beat Rotherham and at 4 points clear, we can afford to lose against Huddersfield. It's a strange shout, I know, and I'm fully aware of that. But Blues on a final day is a different gravy of side. You know, I feel we're in a good spot, and it wasn't looking that great. How are we gonna win against Coventry 3-0 and then find ourselves still in second bottom as Wednesday were winning and Huddersfield were winning? But luckily, the two sides, they fluffed their lines pretty much, didn't they? And that penalty, oh my God, that penalty in the 100th minute given by Rebecca Welsh, who is a questionable official, a questionable official. Yeah, but that day she was the best official from a Blues perspective, giving a handball for a player sliding in with his arm's almost up, but it's pretty much by his side. It's a natural position for his arm to be in. The ball's only about that far away when it's being kicked as well. So for her to give a penalty for that, and for Naki Wells to not miss it, it genuinely saved us and has put us in such a great spot. Just sitting just nice and comfortable above Huddersfield, and I feel like this win will spur us on to our survival and building for the next decade. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. That's been my review and my match thoughts of the Coventry game. And yeah, keep right on to the end of the road, and remember to stay forever true to the Royal Blue. In a bit.